I have a shirt just like the one you're wearing. I think I have a shirt about the same as the one you're wearing.
Good morning. Thank you, Kevin, for the wonderful music. We have a small but mighty group today. Welcome, everybody. We don't have anybody new, but maybe if there's anybody new out in cyberspace, welcome. We're glad to have you with us. So I'm Donna Orozco. I'm on the board, and I'm the host, and I'm also going to do the announcements. So let's go to that. That's not the first one. Can you go? Oh, maybe it is the first one. Sorry, James. So this was last night's event, the Marjorie Brandon Award. We started with Debbie with her wonderful Brazilian cuisine outside. And then we gave the award to Stevie Mejia Daniels, who is a wonderful artist. This is her art. You probably can't get on the critter. We have her wonderful art here. Oh, you can. You can see her dragon. She created this dragon for Tasty Arts, which was, and the dog goes in. Okay. But that was the whole idea. She created it so little kids could go in and out of it and paint. So she does wonderful things each year at Tasty Arts, which is our big art show down on Garden Street, and the kids painted it totally. So Coco's gone now. You can go back to the critter. Then we got Dale. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So we gave the award to Stevie, and then we had this amazing dessert auction. And you know what? I realized I didn't take a picture of that beautiful table full of all the desserts. They were so great, but this is one of the tables that was eating the goodies, and that's your son's Donna W. That's his creation that everybody loved.
Strawberry cheesecake.
And we have some desserts left over because so many people donated desserts, and so we're going to have a half-price sale today. So $5, $10. We'll put out the last ones, and let's make a little more money for this event. That is really our biggest fundraiser of the year. And let's keep going. There's Florence. Florence had to have Bev's apple pie. And I don't know what she did, but she got it. And there she is trying to cut it. And then we go to the band. So we had this great band, In Cahoots. They were wonderful, and they've won this Kino contest, and they're going to Nashville to play different places. And I asked him, are you going to get a contract? And Aaron said, well, I've got a wife and kids at home. I don't think I can go on tour. The other guy was single and ready to do it. So, but anyway, they're going to make the big time, and it's really exciting. And the last thing, then this group from Stevie's has her studio in the Odd Shop, which is just a block over, right across from us. And they have these singers. They call the Evergreens or something. So they asked the band if they could sing with them. They got up and sang with them. So it was a really fun night, and I think we made, I don't know, at least $2,000, $2,500.
Wow.
So it was good. And if you buy the last desserts, we'll add a few more to it. So those will be out later. Okay, other announcements. Today is board meeting. Everybody is welcome to see what we're talking about. It's at 12 noon here, and there's a link on our website if you want to come in on cyberspace. And this is what's happening at Explorers next Sunday. So we had this very interesting discussion on the book Lamb, which some people really couldn't see at all, and some people really loved it. So we're going to finish up that discussion, and then if we get time, Evelyn wants to talk about this book by Alan Lightman, Mr. G, and you notice the G is lowercase. I don't know what that book's about, but it should be interesting too. So we have this wonderful discussions. I hope you will come and join us at after service next Sunday. And let's talk SOM. The discussion this morning was fascinating, very interesting. And what we talked about, how can you make a world work for everybody, which is what we're always saying. And I thought what was fascinating is Bobby brought up the idea that when they were trying to do the cake, because the whole table of 6 has to decide which dessert they want. And she said it was really hard because they had all these different preferences and needs, but they finally figured out, I guess, the pie that worked for everybody. So that was an interesting, to me, a very interesting example of making the world work in just a little way. So this goes on every morning before service. Fascinating discussion, and I hope you'll join us. And the time is going to change on November 10th. We're going to start it at 9:30. How many can get here by 9:30? Oh, that's better than I thought, because people usually ramble in later and later and later. So try to get here at 9:30. Give us a little more time to discuss, because Reverend Jack just comes in. If he's not here in person, then he comes in on the big screen we have now, and great discussion. And I just want to remind you one more time, our wonderful prayer box that people are using. That's great, because we have a prayer team that's learning to give you the prayers. And so you're getting them. If you put your request in, someone will be praying for you. Now, our next show. So this show goes down. Steve said he's going to take down his monstrous paints so we can put him back on his family wall, because Donna's been missing it because it's a very blank wall at home. So look one more time if you haven't seen this wonderful show, the Members and Friends show. And then this Friday is First Friday, and we'll be showing this Rocks and Roots show. Now, what does that look like to you? It says a piece of wood, but most people think it looks like a snake. And it's called This Is Not a Snake. So come and hear what he has to say, because James Stark went out to the place where Donna W. and I have walked several times. One time we walked when it was no water, which is what he found. One time we waded across up to our waist. That was interesting too. But he went out to he went out to get fall colors. This is during COVID, and and he thought all the leaves would be out, and he'd see these beautiful stark white trunks. Well, the leaves were still on the trees, so he started walking in the stream bank. And he found all these different looks. And so that's what his show's about. So come. I think I'm hoping that the Riverland Trust people will come. A few of them will come, because that's where he took and I'm hoping a few more people will come. And I'm hoping you'll all come. And it's Friday from 5 to 8. And we're also going to have Betty, Betty Burke. She sometimes brings her piano people here. Well, she and some of her players are going to be here playing the piano too. So we'll have all kinds of different things. We'll have some snacks, and if you don't buy the cakes, maybe we'll have cakes left over. And so come, Friday, 5 to 8. And now we have, Bonnie's going to come up and tell you about this wonderful Diversity Sunday we're going to have next week.
Hi, folks. Okay. All right. This coming weekend, next weekend, on November the 3rd, the first thing I want to mention is the time change will occur, so we get an extra hour to sleep. So everybody will be here, and this is going to be a treat. This is going to be a treat. And today I want to talk just a few minutes about Tino Rayos, who is going to be doing this for us. He is a member of our team, our diversity and inclusivity team. And do we have a picture of Tino? You couldn't find one? Okay. Okay, that's all right. He's been here several times before. He drummed with Buddy, and he's drummed with Indian drumming with his own kids, and done singing. And okay, so you've seen him before. Okay, so I'm going to say a few things about him, and then I'll pass it on. And his full name is Celestino Rayos, but everybody calls him Tino as far as I know. Okay, he has referred to himself as the warrior poet. I think of him as the warrior of peace, even though that sounds strange. The diversity and inclusivity team is very grateful to have him as a member of the team. He's indispensable. From his, well, you don't know, we don't have a picture. Tino was born in Texas and raised in California. His mother's parents were Apache and Cherokee. His father's Yaqui and Irish. He graduated right up the road, Fresno State, or California State University at Fresno, with a two dual bachelor's degrees in art, in English and Chicano and ethnic studies. He is the diversity, equity, and inclusion trainer for the company where he works, which is the Tulare County Drug and Alcohol Prevention Program. Now, on November 3rd, you are going to see so much and hear a lot too. Tino will talk about what he refers to as edu-culture, education about culture. But he's not going to just talk about culture, of course. He's going to mainly be showing you how the Dia de los Muertos is celebrated in Mexico. Okay, so it's going to be a lot of hands-on and real, like a feast of things to see and hear. Okay, Tino, when he's not doing anything else, he's winning poetry contests. So you will hear quite a bit of beautiful poetry. And okay, also, remember when I talked about my mom? Okay, we will be doing that too. I'll be talking about somebody else, and Bobby will be talking about somebody from her family, and Carol will also be doing a presentation like that. And remember, anybody who wants to talk about a member of their family, this is the time that you could do that. also. Pets included, because pets are family too. And so we'll have, and Tino will be talking about his family in poetry. If you want to do a poem, that's fine, of course, as well. But believe me, you don't have to follow Tino. Once you hear Tino, you will be quite intimidated, probably. But anyway, so that will happen next week, okay? Any questions? Yes. Yeah. Oh, for yours, yes. 1 to 2 minutes is usually good. Pardon? Yes, ancestors who have passed, including pets if you want. Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie. So they're doing this because it's Dia de los Muertos, which is, coincides with our Halloween. And for the Hispanic community and the Native community, talking about your ancestors is real important at that time. So you're invited to, like she did last time, bring a picture or whatever you want to do and talk just a few minutes about that person who has passed. So let's go to our mission statement. Can you all repeat with me? Center for Spiritual Living is the place everyone comes together, connecting in love and learning how to create abundant, joyful, and peaceful lives. And now let's go to the first song.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Now look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love from every walk of life, every creed and color. In kinship we unite in honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, Namaste, I bow to you. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love.
Woo! Thank you, Donna and Kevin. And now, the diversity committee, as you can tell, has been doing a lot of work, and Bobby is going to come up and give us the quote for today.
Thank you and good morning. I'm happy to be here. Today I'm going to read a quote about the CSL theme for the week, the power to create a world that works for everyone. And I want to thank Carol for bringing us together at her table last night and making the world work for everyone. That was very nice. So now the quote, and it's by Jane Goodall. The indomitable human spirit is that quality in us that makes us tackle what seems impossible and never give up. And it's from a book called The Book of Hope, A Survival Guide for Trying Times by Jane Goodall and Doug Abrams. And just briefly, most of you know, Jane Goodall is a scientist and author known for years of living among chimpanzees in Tanzania to create one of the most trailblazing studies of primates. She has long been an advocate for the dignity and well-being of all living things. Thank you.
So each week we do a what we believe principle, and I didn't know this very well, but we have all these belief symbols or quotes on the back table, and each month Gwen chooses one of us to read for the month. And so this is the one we're going to read today. So read with me. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by us, creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. And next week, we'll have a new one. So we're gonna keep it through November. Okay, because we got started on this one a little late. Okay, let's stand if you can, and we're gonna sing the community congregation song,
I'm going to go out there.
which is right up there.
I am the thinker that thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker that thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker that thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. And if you ask me, who am I am wisdom, I am light, I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker that thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker that thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. If you ask me, what am I am beauty, I am joy, I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker that thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker that thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life.
Good morning, beloveds. I'm so happy to be with you one more time. And I love that song because it really talks about the power that we all have the ability to tap into. And so what I'm going to invite you to do right now is just go to that quiet place. If you're in the sanctuary, I want you to feel supported by the seat beneath you. If you're joining us online, I want you to feel supported by the couch, the chair, wherever you may be, and just know that you are connected energetically with each and every person within the sound of my voice. There is one power, one universe, one connective, loving entity that binds us all. That's what we are one with. The truth about that energy, that power, is that it is a power that we all have. It is a power that we can all tap into. So today, on this loving Sunday, we come together with a willingness to tap into the power, to tap into the divine, to understand how we might be inspired, how we might be awakened, how we might tap into that power, because not only is that power surrounding us, it is within us. And when we remember that we are called to create this world that works for all, it's an inside job. It is a job that is manifested by what we do from the inside out. So today, we are ready to be inspired. We are ready to be enlightened. We are ready to see what is ours to do, to be, do, and have as we go about manifesting a world that works for all. And so I turn this celebration over to the divine for divine right action, giving thanks for this opportunity. And with that, I simply say thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone that had a hand in making today possible. And thank you for everyone who has shown up to listen, to be inspired. And so I turn it over. I release it now into that power of the universe, knowing that it'll be turbocharged and it will come back to us more powerful than we ever imagined. And so it is. I come to you today with kind of a reminder. There is a teacher within our movement that you may not even realize is a minister within our movement. Iyanla Van Sant is a charismatic leader within our movement. She has a television program on the OWN channel called Iyanla Fix My Life. If you had an opportunity to witness that, or you might have seen her on Dr. Phil or one of the other talk shows, really there to help people move through their life and to do what it is that they are called to do to create a world that works for everyone. But one of the lessons that she often teaches us and reminds us is that people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Well, today I want to offer that there may be one more attribute that we can add to that. I think from time to time in our life, if we look back and recognize it, there is someone who comes into our life by divine providence. Now, what do I mean by divine providence? They are a catalyst. They are a mentor. They are a special person that we were destined to meet in our lifetime to put us on the trajectory that our life was to unfold with. I want to lift up someone today who a week ago I did not know that would be a part of today's message, but a person who came into my life by that divine providence. And that woman is the name Terry Cole Whitaker. Now, many of you may have known Terry Cole Whitaker from her television show in the early 80s. She was on the Super Channel out of Atlanta. She was in the Bay Area on KRON TV, Channel 4. Many of us watched her every Sunday morning for her half-hour broadcast. And what she was doing, she was bringing the message of this faith, this philosophy, this way of living to the world. She, in her day, in the early 80s, would have been equivalent to a Joel Osteen and that movement. It was a huge movement. Terry made her transition on Friday. And as we celebrate All Saints Day next week, you know, that's another photo to be on the table. That's another ancestor that is there to support us. But I really wanted to talk a little bit more about that divine providence and how that unfolds, because this can be one of those moments when we recognize something bigger than ourselves. I was one of those people who watched Terry Cole Whitaker every Sunday morning. You know, that was kind of like my spiritual hit for the week, and I could go about my business. And then a friend of mine, my best friend, told me that he was going to surprise me. He had tickets to hear her live at the Marin Civic Center. And so we went up to San Rafael and we went to the afternoon class and had the experience of hearing Terry Cole Whitaker live for the first time in my life. And that was an auditorium that held 1,000 people. And it was a robust music, wonderful experience. And you know, what I witnessed from her is she was one of those wise people that brought theology, psychology, and science all together in her message. And it was like such an intriguing message, but she was also one of those people that I would call real world, that, you know, kind of had a message that made you sit up in your chair and go, okay, I get that. Her book that was released at that time was a book called What You Think About Me Is None of My Business. So from that TV show, I knew that that book was out. So I had bought that book, but it was also the book that I gifted everybody that year, because just the title alone changed my way of thinking. And as we say in this philosophy, if you want to change your life, you got to change what you think. So what you think about me is none of my business. I was that human being that for all of my life, I was seeking approval. I was seeking agreement. I was seeking to fit in. And then I saw that title. Well, here's how I was supporting Terry in those early days, even when I didn't know I was supporting Terry. On my lunch hour, I would leave the bank and go over to B. Dalton Booksellers. They had a huge bookstore in the Embarcadero Center in downtown San Francisco. And I would go to the New Thought section and I would find Terry's book and I would pull it out and turn it out so it would be facing forward. Now, I know if you've been to a bookstore, you know that there are some books that face forward and other books you just see the spine. You know, well, that's intentional in a bookstore. That's a part of the marketing. And there's a real difference about who gets to have the outward facing book and who gets to have the book just kind of on the spine. So I would go in and I would turn that book out so it would have a presence. So when my friend Gary said we were going to get to experience Terry live in Marin, I was there. And we loved the experience. Well, one of the things that she was promoting that day was a class called Mastery in Living. And it would be a 10-week class that would take place at the Cathedral Hill Hotel on Venice Avenue in San Francisco. And I remember thinking, how can I afford to take this class? Because it was expensive. And I thought, I've got to find the money. I've got to do something. And I was just thinking in my mind of what it is that I could do in order that I could be in that class, because for whatever reason, I knew that some part of my life depended on me getting in that class. So, as I was contemplating this and we were exiting the auditorium, my friend Gary turned to me and he stopped me and said, I really want to do this. I really want to take this class. I really want to grow spiritually in my life. And I want to do it with my best friend. Are you in? Was the question he asked. And my answer was a resounding yes. Two things happened in that moment. One, someone said to me, I want to do this with you. I can't imagine doing this with you, without you. And so, of course, I was in. And just that little nugget right there, that served to be the lesson of how I enrolled other people into any class that I taught or anything that I wanted to do that had to do with enlightenment or empowerment. When we invite somebody to do something at that level by saying to them, I cannot imagine doing this without you, they're in. That's how we invite people to join us on a Sunday morning. That's how we invite people to watch us on YouTube. Say, I'm doing this. I want you to be a part of it. So we go outside, we do the registration, we get to shake hands with Terry, and I had some lovely words that went back and forth. And that next Tuesday evening, we are on our way to the Cathedral Hill Hotel. We get there. The class starts at 7 p.m. We get there at 6:59 and 30 seconds. And we walk in the room. There are 400 people in that class. There are 2 empty seats. And as I walk up to those 2 empty seats, I see the woman that had placed her purse and her what was called a personal resource system, or a day timer, on the seat. I said, are these seats taken or saved for someone? She looked up at me and she said, they're saved for you. And she picked up her stuff and Gary and I sat down. Well, for the next 10 weeks, the 3 of us, that woman and Gary and I, we became the best of friends. We became committed to the spiritual journey together. That was 42 years ago. That was 1982. That woman who I happened to randomly sit beside of that day was the Reverend Dr. Andrea Earl, who I have shared my spiritual journey in my lifetime with. She has been there by my side for 42 years. She was right there with me 10 years later as Gary made his transition from suffering from AIDS. And then we both committed that we were going to carry on and do more about what it is that we could do in this movement. But had it not been for Terry Cole Whitaker having that television program, writing that book, What You Think About Me Is None of My Business, not for doing that Mastery in Living class, I would have never known of Dr. Ernest Holmes. I would have never known of this ancient wisdom, New Thought movement. I would have never known of Emmett Fox. I would have never known how Emerson came to be a part of the inspiration for what it is that we teach. It set my life on a trajectory that got us here today. I would not be speaking to you today were it not for the gift of Terry Cole Whitaker coming into my life by what I call divine providence. Divine providence. Everything that I had known about organizational structure within a church, within any facilitation, within teaching, the teaching style that I have, how to set up the room, how to do the logistics, all of that I learned from being in sacred service with Terry Cole Whitaker Ministries. Andriette and I would leave San Francisco at 3 p.m. on a Friday afternoon and drive 9 hours to San Diego to be a part of a class that took place on Saturday morning with Terry Cole Whitaker at the El Cortez Center in downtown San Diego. To be there for 3 hours, to experience it live, to get a little bit more information for whatever that class was so that we could come back and eventually teach it in the Bay Area. But we would drive 9 hours to get there, spend 3 hours in the class, turn around, get back in the car, and drive back to the San Francisco Bay Area on Saturday afternoon so that we could be at our spiritual centers on Sunday morning. We were committed to absorbing, to learning, to gaining as much as we possibly could about this radical idea of bringing theology, psychology, and science together. It was an amazing way of looking at one's spiritual journey. It was an amazing understanding of this thing called affirmative prayer. Praying in a positive way, not being humble, not being weak, not professing to be unworthy. That has nothing to do with the power that we were talking about this morning. That had nothing to do with the power of the songs that we were singing today. Once we accepted that we could be, do, and have whatever we wanted in life, we were on our way. And yes, we were all in. So for the next several years, I supported Terry in almost everything that she did, whether she was speaking at the Whole Life Expo, whether she was offering a special class, we were right there together in the trajectory of what we call the Science of Mind movement or the Centers for Spiritual Living movement. I became a practitioner. I went to ministerial school. And I completed all the 96 units that was required to be a minister. And then in September of 1985, Terry made the proclamation it was no longer about titles and that she was not going to ordain anyone else. And then I got to really look at my life on a dime. I had gone all the way in to become a minister with Terry Cole Whitaker Ministries. And then she said, but I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to go a different direction. I was at a fork in the road. I could either go with the new direction that she was going and going, well, it would have been nice to be a minister, but, wasn't meant to be. Or I could say, no, I'm committed to this. This is something bigger than I am. I'm going to find a way to do it. And at that time, I found the California Institute of Religious Science in San Francisco, and the Reverend Daniel Parsui was his name. And I went to him and I said, I've completed all the classes, I've done all the training, and now she's not going to do it. And he goes, come on over. We're all one. There is one power, there is one universe. We are all aligned and united. I'll ordain you. And so in October of 1985, I was ordained through the California Institute of Religious Science so that I could continue this work. Despite Terry saying, no, I'm not doing that anymore, she went a different direction. Now, I could have been mad at her. I could have said, you've betrayed me, you've got me this far, but she was a better teacher than that. She was a better teacher than that. What she gifted me was my own authenticity, What she gifted me was the ability to tap into my own power to say, if you really want this, you're going to go get it on your own. If you really say you want to do this thing, you're going to go do it. Don't stop just because I stopped, because then you would have been following me, not the movement. This faith, this philosophy, this way of living is bigger than any one individual. But there are times when different teachers come along our way to say, read this, study this, let's discuss this, let's talk about this. What do you think? That's the definition of a magnificent mentor. No one is a good mentor if all they are doing is finding a group of people that can follow them. They're just building an entourage. They're not activating a movement. Terry knew that. And one of the greatest gifts that she gave to many of us was to step out of the way and do something different. Because then we got to demonstrate we really do believe in the science of mind. We really do believe that there is one power and one universe. We really do believe that we can manifest a world that works for all. Now, that's an amazing teacher. One of her philosophies, and one of the things that she would often say to us when asked, how do you know a good guru from a bad guru? And she would say, a good guru will say there are many paths to one universal God or one universal power, or there are many paths to a universal experience of love. That's a good guru that motivates you to go out and seek and find and do that for yourself. A bad guru is the one who says there's only one path, and that path is to follow me and to absorb my teaching alone and ignore all other teachings. If that's the kind of teacher you're in front of, your good lies elsewhere. May you quick be to it. Get out of there. So I often say, and how I've interpreted that in my own teaching, I say I care less about what you think. What I'm more concerned about is, are you thinking? Are you thinking for yourself? Are you discerning what it means for you? Are you putting your own spiritual practice together? Are you studying? Are you journaling? Are you meditating? Are you praying? Are you an active participant in your own journey? Terry Cole Whitaker gave me the gift by kicking me out the door, so to speak, to be the master of my own legacy. So today, as we bring this back around, and our lesson for today is to be about creating a world that works for all. That's a big statement. When we met earlier this morning in our class, Let's Talk Science of Mind, we were talking about some of the attributes that had to exist: respect, understanding, open-mindedness, compassion. All of that comes together in creating a world that works for all. And those are all the things that we as individuals can do to make that possible. We have to be prepared for what's down the road and around the next curve by being good students, by studying more, by asking the hard questions, by asking our friends and family members, how did you come to that belief? Help me to understand your point of view. Tell me a little bit more about that. That's how we engage and grow in this society where we're kind of forced to choose a team and stick with that team no matter what. Well, I am thankful today that Terry Cole Whitaker told me that the team changes And sometimes we have to move on and accept a new thing. And that's a great teaching, and it's going to be okay. Terry didn't really go away. Those of you that read the Science of Mind magazine know that she has the final column in every publication. She still is revered within this movement from the Centers for Spiritual Living as one of our most profound teachers. So today, I ask you to join me in this knowing. Were it not for the gifts of Terry Cole Whitaker, there would not be a Heart and Soul Center of Light today, founded by the Reverend Dr. Andrietta Earle. There would not be an Elder Pride Incorporated, where I serve to support those that are 60 and above as they age forward with grace and ease as a focused ministry. And I would not be with you all today here at CSL Visalia were it not for the gifts of Terry Cole Whitaker. Think about that. The difference that one person can make. You know, I'll close with this. In America, every day, there's over 7,500 people that make their transition or pass away. Many of them go unnoticed. Many of them have only made a difference to a limited few people. But every once in a while, there's someone like Terry Cole Whitaker that made a profound difference. There are over 400 centers of the Centers for Spiritual Living movement that are lifting her name up today and demonstrating why she was one of the most profound teachers within our movement. That is divine intervention right there. That is divine providence. And so I'll end with where I began. If this is the message you were expecting today, great. If this was not the message you were expecting today, so be it. Because what you think about me is none of my business. Thank you, everyone. Blessings. And today we lift up Terry Cole Whitaker.
We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. And the bonny boat was one as we sailed into the mystic. Hark now, hear the sailors cry. Smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. And when that foghorn blows, I will be coming home. And when that foghorn blows, I want to hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I want to rock your gypsy soul, just like in the days of old. And magnificently we will fold into the mystic. And when that foghorn blows, you know I will be coming home. And when that foghorn blows, I gotta hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in days of old. And magnificently we will fold into the mystic. Too late to stop now.
Thank you. That's a tough song. It was beautiful. So now it's time for our conscious giving. So will the ushers come forward, please? And we will read our prosperity prayer. So let's repeat. Today, I expect every good thing to come to me, for I know that divine abundance is ever manifesting. I can't say it this way. I'm reading this one. I'm going down here.
Forever. Expectations open to new experiences.
I found it. To happier events, to a more complete self-expression. Everything that belongs to spirit, I accept. Everything that partakes of the nature of divine reality, I claim as my own. I identify with success, and I prosper in everything I do. As I give thanks for the good now flowing into my life, I gladly share that good with others. The more I give, the more I receive. I experience a deeper consciousness of peace and security, for I know that I am in the embrace of a warm, loving presence. My cup runneth over. I exist in limitless possibility. And now we'll take the offering. So let's bless these gifts. Will you repeat after me? We bless these gifts and give thanks for the good that they will manifest.
And give thanks for the good that they will manifest.
And so it is.
So it is.
All right, beloveds, thank you for that. Thank you for being willing to listen to the message today. You know, one of the things that we're doing in our spiritual prosperity class is we're thinking each day and making a list of the things that we're thankful for. And so certainly one of the things that is on the top of my list today is being thankful for knowing Terry Cole Whitaker. But I'm also thankful today for knowing each and every one of you. I am thankful for everyone within the sound of my voice right now. So, as we come together in our benediction, we are reminded once again that there is one power, one universe, and one divine expression of love that many of us call God. And we know that the truth of that God is compassionate, God is empathetic, God is understanding, God is open minded. And if that is the truth about God, that is the truth about every person within the sound of my voice, because we are one with that. We are called to be the demonstration of that compassion, that understanding, that open mindedness, that expression of love throughout the world. We truly believe in the possibility and the reality of a world that works for all. So, as we go about our individual ways today, we look for examples. We look for the demonstration of where love stands. We look for the expression of everything that touches our life and that we can be thankful for it. That's just what we do. And so I turn the rest of this day over to the divine, and I simply say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. And as I said earlier, this transformation is an inside job. It's from the inside out. So as we come together, let's circle up, let's look at one another, and let's affirm it by singing, "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me." See you all soon. Much love.
Now there is peace on earth, I know it begins with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment